When you write an offer, you need to use, if you're going to use an agent, you want to use the California Association of Realtors, the APR. First of all, before we do that, you need to know who your audience is, who you're going to be working with. Is it a short sale seller? Is it an REO? Is it an equity seller? Or is it a flip property or an investor type property, long term? So those are really, really important things to know and how you're going to negotiate with all these contracts. So you use the RPA, which is the Residential Purchase Agreement.
Most common type of contract. However, if you're dealing with a civilian private seller, you do not have to use this. If you're not a realtor, you can't use this. This is licensed out to agents only. So if you're not paying your dues in current, you shouldn't be using these. But we bring it up and we're going to focus on it because it's the most common. Most of the inventory is either short sale or REO,
right,
or distress.
Right. And most of it is listed property.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this, the important elements of it. We'll walk you through it. But it will apply on the other contracts as well. They'll just be a little different. So these things are pretty straightforward. The top part, Mike, is?
The top part, you got to make sure the name is on there, the address, the parcel number, the city. Most important is just you need to have it filled out. Then you need to make sure the price is in there and days to close. So you got to make sure you put the days to close or a specific date.
Notice you pick the actual date. You don't want to do that, you can just put the number of days.
Right. Okay, the inspection periods is really important, especially when you're negotiating with REO. REO is probably one of the most difficult sellers that you can work with because they're very specific. And then there's different techniques that you need to do. On inspection periods, you want to make your inspection periods very reasonable. Okay? Can you get an inspection done in 5 days?
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's very doable. Can you get a home inspection done in 5 days?
Sure.
Absolutely, because home inspectors are looking for business right now. There's a lot of
Good one will get it done.
Good one will get it done. And I just did one. He was out there in 24 hours. Not a problem. So you want to make sure that you get your inspections done on time.
Realize by default, the way the CAR forms work, by default, they have a number built in. You have 7 days to give them all your reports or disclosures. But right after, there's a blank, and you can change the default setting if you want to. But you have to actively write something in. So it's one or the other. If you leave it alone, it defaults to 7 days for getting all your reports to the buyer. And this is the important one. You have 17 days as the buyer to walk. So if you're in contract, it doesn't really mean much for the first 17 days. Because you can go for any reason. It doesn't matter. You didn't like the report, you didn't like the neighborhood, you didn't like whatever. Okay? So you automatically, by default, have 17 days to walk. Banks, however, will change that number on you.
Yes, it'll be an average of 10 days. Some of the banks are 8 days, some of them are 5. Never change item A, which is the seller's benefit, so just leave that alone. The B, where the 17 days is, if you change that to shorter, that's also a benefit to the seller. So you want to.
So it kind of depends on which hat you're wearing, right? If you're buying, you want the longest inspection period you can get. If you're selling, you want it trimmed down. Banks will trim you down to fewer days.